She's waiting outside. Just finish this, then we'll discuss.
Good morning. Good morning to everybody. So today MMPH is usual to Human Resource Development. So today I will discuss about the block number, unit number 7 of block 2. We now proceeding for block number 3. So what is the left out unit is from the block 2. That is unit number 7, analysis of performance in the career planning. That we have to discuss. Regarding the your performance management, system theory and the human performance, historical perspective, then your performance management, concept of the performance management, career and career development perspectives. That all this part we have to discuss. Then we have to go for unit number 8 also. That is the part of block 3. That is unit number 8, that is the HRD culture and the climate. Unit 9, counseling, coaching, and mentoring. That we have to cover today in this session. So, performance management. Now we have to discuss about the performance management and basically the analysis, how to analyze why it is required. Analysis part is required. But the better management, the system should run in a very smooth way. So we should know the what are the outcomes, what are the new faults, what are the problems facing, so that we can do it. That what are the gaps are there that can be fulfilled. So that's why the analysis part is very much important. So basic goal of a performance management system is to maximize employees' capacity in the best interest of the both the persons of the company and establishing expectations in terms of the roles, duties, and accountabilities, as well as the required competencies and expected behaviors. Another point is it is a continuous ongoing proactive technique for the managing and the employees' performance and achieving the defined targets in real time without need to future reviews or corrective actions. So you can save the time. Basically, you have to save the time. So if your proactive technique is good, your target is defined in a real-time basis. So review time and the corrective action time, modification time, you can reduce drastically. So performance management enhances a company's profitability by increasing the employees' engagement and the increasing productivity. So, analysis of the performance of the career planning now, the systems theory and performance, given performance. The systems theory is a subset of organizational theory, which emphasizes holistic thinking, and they are open systems having inputs and outputs that interact directly with the environment and achieving the defined targets in real time without need of the future views and corrective actions. So that is the basically the your open system purposes. Now, historical, if you go to the how the that systems has come, I mean, from the behavioral issues, from the industrial issues, so we have to go back a little bit before the system has started. So, the classical school of management, some thoughts are there that which include the Frederick Winslow Taylor's the scientific management and the Henry Fayol's business administration gave away to so-called human relations movement, often known as a behavioral management theory developed by the company. So subsequently, the Elton Mayos, the research Douglas McGwell's theory, there is a X and Y theory, we are calling. Um, uh, Here, they are also developed some of the mechanisms. That is Likert and the Robert Bells. They have their management styles. What is the management style should be? Robert Break and Mount is managerial models. Some of lot of models they have developed. All these are clearly predicted the assumptions of the human nature and the deterministics. What the behavioral pattern, what are the things the behavioral pattern changing, and what are the think process or thought process that assumptions are already predicted by these the theories. Behavioral performance and the management part, they are so it is actually measurable. That behavioral pattern can be measurable. At the crucial stages, can fulfill the many organizational goals and classified as the job performance behaviors. So Campbell, in the 1993, he has authored, is the author, he has developed these things, measurable systems. Any performance management systems goal thus become to improve the alignment between the organizational goals and the individual objectives. So this is one of the main objectives you can see. So how to align the individual and organizational goals? That has to be both the objectives should be aligned. Then you can we can say that we are in the right path. The personality and the behavior and the performance part, the big five are the things: the consciousness, uh, neuroticisms, extroversions, and agreeableness, openness in brief terms. In the this is actually corresponding to the raise of the interest in the function of the personality and what in industrial and organizational psychology. Now, human behavior is a set of mental, physical, emotional, and the social actions that people engage in throughout their lives, and it is influenced by the culture, society, values, morality, ethics, and your heredity. These all things are the you can say the influence. It is influence the things. Knowledge and awareness of the conduct is critical since it not only the degrades our performance but also has a significant impact on the performance of the others also. So uh, now another part is there is a motivation behavior and the performance. So what it is a correlation that we have to see it. So motivation is the inner drive that people's can toward their objectives. So you have to should have some inner energy or inner drive should be there. There should be there to do this the job for the successfully you have to do it. The definition of motivation according to green bark and and your barn can be broken down into three pieces. They have in a three part they have distributed the things. There is analysis of the performance career. Yeah, another part is there. There is a employee motivation is one of the most important aspects of any business. So if the employee are not motivated, then definitely it will affect your business also. The profitability, productivity, everything will be hampered. So a quality work environment is defined by each considerations. So quality is one of the aspect very important. So another, I mean, basically the work environment where the employees are working, that conditions are very much important, and it will affect in the behavior pattern will be changed if the environment it will not favorable. That environment is not favorable, then it may be a changes in the behavioral patterns, and in turn it will affect the profit also. So appropriate salary, then your enhanced training, effective and the free flow of the informations, worker elevations, and a pleasant and healthy working environment are the example of this element. So all these aspect should be appropriate. Then only we can expect the uh, things. So these are all a part of your management part, performance management part. A successful performance management systems includes establishing a well-defined objectives. Objectives should be well-defined, designing and implementing it so that it can be effectively evaluated and analyzed. So all these part are the basically the factors you can see it, all the factors for the personal management, performance management part. Performance objectives. A successful performance of management method is built on the foundation of objectives. So if your objectives are realistic, if your objectives are very good, and it is objectives are result oriented objectives, so definitely success will be there. So focus on the objectives, behavioral based, and the observable job related results ensures that the process is fair and reduce disparity. Now, performance planning, like all the other processes, is a joint effort between the management and the employee. Though it is some component will always be non-negotiable, but even though most of the effort should be good, should be in a very collaborative way, you have to do it. The performance planning is very much important. So goals can be ranked in order to determine which are the most important. So what the way your priority has set it. So this is very important. So goal has to be set and should be determined in a rank wise. Then which includes basically the performance management, which includes the goal setting, performance planning, performance monitoring, feedback, and coaching. So all these aspects are involved included in the performance management. So it may be necessary to provide the training to ensure that managers are fully prepared to accomplish all the tasks associated to performance management. So during the planning stage, you have to decide it. You have to ensure that all these um, part are to be fulfilled nicely. Analyzing the human performance. An organization hires people to do activities and they compare them to specific goals that are consistent with the company values. Measurements that ensure a relationship between the individual employees and the organizational vision and the goals in order to achieve the excellence in the organizations on one hand, and the employee the happiness and the personal progress on other side. So this is the some theory and define definition. We can say it. These all are the theory based, and the definition are came up by the lot of observations, lot of survey that that definition has been derived. The concept of the career. Now we have to see the career concept. The career is an actually integral part of any individual personal and the professional life. So, career can be understood as a sum of the educational, social, economic, and conscious decisions taken by the individual and representing his unique personality traits and essential life values. So, during the lifespan, maybe or the active lifespan, we can say it, what the things he has done, how nicely, what the way he has accumulated his educational effort, basically the knowledge, basically the knowledge, then his economic, socially, how the decision making process, how fast he has taken the correct decision process and all this part of your is the career basically. All are integral parts of the career. The definition. The David A. Disenjo and Stephen P. Robbins have defined the career as a sequence of positions occupied by a person during the course of lifetime. As I just now I said that during the lifetime, what he has occupied the things that is the very important. A career may be defined as a sequence of jobs that constitute with a person does for a living. On the other hand, the career path is represented by employees' movements through opportunities over a time. Over time, individual employees and the organizations who are employers have a psychological contract wherein each party have certain needs, aspirations, and expectations at the time of the joining. So as the newcomers or new employees are coming, uh, when there are a lot of expectation will be there, and then some aspirations they need, then only uh, the basic things basically as a human psychology, then that things has to be given. So the concept of the career. Now we are talking about the concept. The concept of the career development can be understood as below described. Now, the first one is your career development covers both personal and corporate growth. So, individual growth and as well as your organizational growth. Both the things should be covered in the when we are talking about the career development. Number two is career planning. It refers to the process of changing the employment status over a period of life or various life stages, different life stages. This process of the making long-term learning decisions or acquiring the various competencies in order to balance career achievement, career advancement opportunities with personal needs can be understood as a career development. So during career development, so there are two things. We can say that there are two boats are parallelly going, or we can say that there are two trains are going in the. It may be a different track or maybe the same track, but speed and timing should be the same. There is a individual opportunities on the organizational opportunities. So that during this process have to take care. Organizational career development is an activity that takes into the account the long-term benefits. Because when you are talking about the organizational career development, definitely we have to see as a long-term, is 5 years of project plan or 10 years, your vision and mission, where you should be, my company should be where you have to start dreaming or imaginations based on your objectives and you try to fulfill it. So that career development from the organizational point of view, definitely it is a long-term basis. And what are the benefits will be there? Success of the employees. And as well as in the employees as well as the organizations also. The organization carries out career development based on the human needs, because that only can possible when you are fulfilling the when your human resources are there, the ability to do this, adaptability and acceptability, they can perform better. Then only we can say all these functions are there. So, ability to perform various functions, improve efficiency, and compete with other organizations. That is the last line is very important. Compete with other organizations. Competitions, basically the market competition. That is the now um, events and stages of the career development. The career development is an ongoing process that occurs over the lifespan and includes the home, school, and community experiences also. That is another viewpoint are given. The author says Petrocare Fisa and the split. They are saying these things. Depending upon the life stages and as per the needs and once the career development can be explained as per the events model. So events explain the 5 stages of the career development. These stages are explained in and include the following. That's one of the explorations, establishment, mid career, late career, decline. So this is the way he has the different stages he has. The problem with the top managers is the lack of communications and other interpersonal skills as the main factor hinders the future your career advancement. So career advancement for this is the hindering points. One of the things are communications. Is the lack of communications between the interpersonal skills from the top management to your in the lower top to bottom or bottom to top. This is the way. So there, because this communication is the backbone of the company basically. So if your backbone is not good, communication is not flow from top to bottom or bottom to top, then definitely it will get that advancements also will be disturbed. So some problem areas are as some of the problem areas. One is the occupational stress because in your employee as a human being, problem will be there, the stress will be there. It may be in terms of the family aspects, unknown potentials, initial performance assessment, and feedback, political aspects of the organizations, the dependence, loyalty issues, and the moral dilemmas, stagnations, and the regression. These are all of the factors I can see. This is the area, the problematic areas are there is defined. So this is and after knowing these things, this is the area are to be looked after. This is the matter of it's an urgent matter to do these things. Then individual strategies and the decision making. So when you understand the things, what are the factors, what are the problems, so then you can make new strategy to overcome these situations. So for that, your some self management is required. Results, because based on these results, you can do it. So basically the results in the sense of your outcomes. What are the outcomes? Skills and abilities, personal values, can introduce to the top managers in the in this case disability. If suppose if you know some of the problems in respect of the disability, that has to be identified and to be rectified also. Personal and the family circumstances are very important because that area, that gaps, and it should be some solution should be there. Now the trends. We have to see what are the trends going on in India. Not only in India, in a worldwide, the trends are coming. The as in the unemployment trends are is also big issues in India after 2020. Basically, the COVID, the problem of the your epidemic that part is there. COVID-19. After that, the issues has very highlighted. So population in India is that is all all-time high in the growing as per the Wikipedia, the youth literacy rate is 19.2%, because one way it is a good, our literacy rating is good, but other way the educated employee unemployment will be generated. So yet Indians' employment situation is bad, especially with the current ongoing fight against the coronavirus, because the and still it is affecting, but rate of effect will now reduce drastically. But even though still is there, and proactions are also there, right? We can say the past corona effect is still there. Lot of people are not good, not their performance level has goes down. It has been lot of survey and lot of report are coming different from the different areas, that people are not still they are not recovered health wise 100%. Those who are already come out from the coronavirus, still a lot of people are feeling laziness and lethargy, that deficiency level are weakness. So it is one of the should be aware of all these things. So this is the ongoing fighting is going on. The unemployment rate as for the 3rd May to 20 stands high. It is a 24.1%. Now it is, as on date, now it is little bit try to reducing, but still the unemployment rate is very quite high. According to CMEI report, that the unemployment data is what are the 24/1 it is. The Indian marketplace, although witnessing the worst of the moment, sees the range of opportunities, but still a lot of opportunities and employment trends are offering. I mean, most of the companies are, I mean, the software sector companies are coming. So here are some of the top employment trends in the India, and a little study and is here to say. That is your the especially we are now observing that the skilled employees is a very needed, because the area is so far we are lacking. We are lagging also. The skilled employees. Technological growth. Still, this is whatever we have taken the latest out of the technology we have adopted. Still, we are a little bit away from the latest technology. That has to be that growth. We have to cope up these situations. Work from home. That is one of the big challenge, and people are try to understand the things. Contractual employment are increasing. 5 year contract or 3 years contract, contractual employment. These are basically the trends going on, the career trends, where the area is there. People can get a job, or they can um, prepare their future career, especially career. Other benefits apart from the salary, that is your job in demand, then your company is in demand, and hiring trends. The all other trends are defined here. Now we are coming up the HRD culture and the climate. That is what is the HRD climate? The HRD climate of an organization plays a very important role in ensuring the competency, motivation, and development of its employees. So that is the focus of the HRD climate. Defining the climate, how to define the climate, is a perception about an organization's goal and about the decisions that a manager should take to achieve these goals, come out only through informal organizations. Both the formal and informal structure combine to create what is called, we can say, the organizational climate. Now, this definition implied that in the measurement of operational climate, that is one of the perceptual response sort out the primarily described, then your rather than the evaluative, the level of the inclusiveness the items, scales and construct the macro rather than the micro, The units of the analysis tend to be the attributes on the organizations or the specific subsystems rather than the individual. The perceptions of the potential behavioral consequences. So all are the Flender 1975. He has already derived the things as he has prepared a working definition of the climate. So climate perception as a psychologically meaningful moral descriptions that people can agree, characteristics, systems, practices, and procedures. So now some of the alternatives are as follows. Some of the alternatives you can see focus on the results versus focus on the following one. Then individual accomplishment versus being a member of the team. Individuals and the member of the team. Initiative and the risk taking versus not rocking the boat. Individual gains versus enhancement of the organizational objectives. So that is the area we have to see. Then mindset based. This is one of the very important mindlessness. It is very tough. So how much tired of your mind and dealing with the people versus the avoidance of the unpleasant actions. So that area can be distinguished. Can be what are the differentiations that also to be identified. Then relative importance of the participating in management versus authorization management, because relatively how much it is important, really it is realistic that participation is really required or not, versus the authorization, the management, what the management are authorized to things are taken care of seriously or not. That part are the things are there. This is all part of the characteristics for the your trend. Now, this development climate will have the following characteristics. It's a Rao and Abraham is saying. The tendency at all levels, starting from top management to the lowest level, to treat the people as the most important resource. So that is a very important part. It is a asset, company asset. So people are the asset of the company. Keeping in view of the mind, you have to that tendency. You have to see the levels. A perception that developing the competencies in the employees, the job of every management, every manage and the supervisor, basically the managers and the supervisors. Faith in the capability of the employees to change and acquire new competencies at any stage of the life. So that faith, you should have a good faith on the employees that yes, definitely they can do it and develop their competencies to do so. A tendency to be open in communications and discussions rather than being secretive, I mean, fairly free expressions of the feelings. So, that type of tendency are one of the point. The communication, during the communication, you have to see how much openness, how much the ideas are generated and all. Through this discussion, really, we are nearer to the solution now. That is the main issue. Encouraging risk taking and the experimentations. So encourage the employees uh, to take some risks. Definitely, it is a case should be a calculated risk, not just for jumping the decisions. Calculated risks and definitely based on the some theories and your some of the measuring assumptions, good assumptions they have to take. That then only can take the risk taking part and encourage to them basically to, to do these things. Now, making efforts to help employees recognize their strengths, That is another main important because until and unless the employee or any people don't know his potentials, well, how can and he don't know his weakness and the strength point also. Basically, the strength, weakness can be identified, and that should be agreeable also by the employee and the employer. That should be agreeable. Yes, that is your fault, and that is the area you have to change it. You have to develop the areas. That is one of the part. But main things, most of the cases we are not identifying or not go for the strength and how far that strength can be channelized. Because what are the strength of that has to be channelized positively and his based on this the feedback. A general climate of trust. You have to generate, you have to, some side of environment will be there, the climate is there, trust, because it's a mutual trust that you have to create these things. Tendency on the part of employees to be generally helpful to each other and collaborative with each other. That type of situation and that type of instance has to be uh, created. The tendency has to be created. That is the basically the tendency should be there. Employees and along with the others also in a collaborative way. Team spirit. Team spirit which when you are people are in a as a team working, only they are focused on particular on one point and the objectives are the same for everything. There, as a team spirit, their individual objectives are to be diluted and focus on the organization's objectives. And as a team, what the team has been decided, that objectives are very crucial. Tendency to discourage stereotypes and the favorism types. That, as a company organization point of view, that type of climate should be there. And discourage the things. When the things are stereotyped, there's no negative innovatives, no such of interests are there. So you have to try to discourage the things and motivate the good things and try to less favorisms because this is one of the slow project because the favorisms are not good for the in a long term. It's not very good things. Supportive personal policies. What are the policies that to be there? That all these policies should be supportive, and is in fact personals can happily can adopt the things, the policies, and they can smoothly they can do this, and that should be user friendly. I mean, the policy should be so nice that there is not be any ambiguities. There should not be any complex. Supportive HRD practices, including the performance appraisals, is one of the things. Training, reward management, potential development, job rotations, career planning. These are all are supporting part for the develop a good HRD climate. So all are the parties. I mean, it should be included, inclusive part of the HRD practices. Now, elements of the HRD climate. There's a Octopact culture, the short name, where it is things are there, openness, and your achievement, assessment. So all these parts is there. There the employees feel free to discuss their ideas, activities, and feelings of each other. The concept of climate with specific references to HRD context, HRD climate, has been recently introduced by the Rao and Abraham. They have seen perhaps it could be due to these reasons that there is hardly any research work available in the past literature. Measurement of HRD climate. How to measure the that HRD climate? So there's these three dimensions seem to be related to counseling, autonomy, and proactivity, training, and philosophy also. So this is the area: counseling, autonomy and productivity, training and philosophy. There are the three areas, three dimensions where you have to look after. To establish the reliability of HRD climate questionnaires, the internal consistency, that is your homogeneity item, is tested using the Chrome batch alpha. That is one of the processes that they have established the things. To measure the HRD climate prevalent in any organizations, this questionnaires was administered to several managers in the organizations at various hierarchical levels. Now, survey part of this, the survey of HRD climate in Indian organizations. It has been uh, observed and the surveyed, and that observations are to be tabulated. The following are the items uh, with uh, with respect to which the HRD climate is not favorable. The average item-wise scores are below 50%. So here actually now it is tabulated the non-favorables. I mean the not favorable part. There's one thing: the top management goes out of his way to make sure that employees enjoy their work. That is one. There are mechanisms in the organizations to reward any good work done or any contributions made by the employees. That is 15 item number 15. There is a survey has done. Based on the survey, it has come out. So employees are encouraged to experiment with new methods and try to creative ideas. That is item number 19 they have described. When the behavior feedback is given to employees that take seriously and use of the development part. So employees in these organizations take pains to find out their strengths and the weakness from this supervising officers or the colleagues. So these are all of the areas are shown where it is non-favorable areas. Now to see some other point is also there. As the employees returning from training programs are given opportunities to try out, they have learned, because most of the cases after the training they are not put in the right track. Maybe in the other jobs they are putting. That whatever they have learned, that it is a totally wastage. So employees, another point is employees are encouraged to take initiative and to do these things on their own without having to wait for the instructions from the supervisors. So that type of capability should be there. That is the item number 30 they have described, and they have collected the data. Basically, all this the observation survey data. Basically, you can see that the questionnaires, the questions, and they have tried to inquire from this part. Career opportunities are pointed out to juniors by the senior officers in the organizations. And another is the organizational ensures employee welfare to such an extent that the employees can save a lot of their mental energy for the work workers. So now I have to show for some of the points are favorable. Now we have to see the following other aspects which are more than above the 60%. Earlier it was less than 60%, less than 50%. Now here it is, I see the above 60%. That is all our climate is the favorable. HID climate is favorable. What is the things? The top management believe the human resources are extremely important. Here in this case, as per the item number 2, they have observed and they have surveyed these also. And they have received the things huge way. It is above 60%. The top management believes the yes, human resources are extremely important. Number two, B, people in these organizations are helpful to each other. So all are good. Promotion decisions are based on the suitability of the promotions rather than the favoritism. So there is no favoritism. So it's a good sense. So this is the way. Actually, I will not go through one by one all these points. There are so many points there that based on this survey, how to HID climate can be developed, and this is the survey pattern of the survey questions, you can say, and you have to cut the database. Basically, you have to prepare the database and where you are your HRD culture and climate are to be developed or not, or how much development is required, and what are the action plan that can be identified from this survey. The following factors may be considered as the contribution contributing to HID climate. What are the factors? Top management style and philosophy. That is one of the thing. Personal policies. That is one of the another area. HID instructions and the systems. Self renewal mechanisms. It's very very important. It is a self renewal mechanisms uh, for this attribute to personal managers, commitment of the line managers, those who are really in the frontliners. What are the commitment they have? See, this is the then only you can say if this all these factors are well addressed, well addressed. I mean, all these factors are nicely addressed and nicely solutions are there nicely that all this part are taken care, then definitely HRD climate will be very good. So that is the idea behind this list out of things. So we should know the factors also. So then if you reduce these factors some extent, then it will be in turn we can say the climate is improving. We can say the climate is improving. Now practices. Now, some of the practices you have to see. There is your counseling and coaching them and mentoring. There's another aspect, another important. There's unit 9. The concept and the objectives of the coaching and mentoring. You see, the young employees is need to develop a trust and the supportive relationship with their immediate supervisors. When you are joining in the company as a new entities, definitely your immediate supervisors have to give a good treatment, and they have to, as a collaborator, they have to be as a brotherhoodness should be there. Some things have to be there. Helpful nature should be. So it can be help for the farmers to set up challenging tasks, support them to achieve the goals, help them to analyze why they could not have the higher performance and plan to have the higher achievement in future also, so that the growth with this all this process. What of the I'm saying that the challenging that are goals, the achievement, the goals, help to the analysis of things. These are all the process of the coaching. Or you can say it is a performance review. So you see the performance reviews in terms, we can say this is a coaching, which can be defined as the help provided by a supervisor to the subordinates. Supervisor to subordinates. Uh, by the supervisor to subordinates in analyzing their performance and on the job behaviors, and or during that time what type of behavior pattern should be there. That is in order to basically all in order to improve the performance. Now the concept and objectives of the coaching and the mentoring that we have to this thing you have to see it. Objectives of the coaching. As I see earlier slides that where you are describing the process of coaching is nothing to develop the employees so that they can perform well. In one sentence we can say it. Now some objectives you have to set it out. What are the objectives? Helping to realize the potential of the manager as a manager. So you have to help as a manager that you have to realize the potentials. Helping him to understand the himself, his strength and weakness. So that is one of the, as a judge, you have to identify, you have to say categorically, this is your strength and this is your weakness. You have to help them to understand the things. Providing him an opportunity to acquire more insight into his behavior. What are the behavioral patterns as something you are identified as a manager? You are identifying this is not it's wrong, it's not right. You have to rectify it You have to that awareness you have to give it, and based on the analysis things, because it is a dynamic nature. Today, what are the behavior pattern is there? The pattern has to be changed. Maybe any reasons that you have to analyze it, and dynamically you have to do it also. So helping him to have better understanding of the environment. So to understand the situation in a better way, that also you have to help as a manager. You have to help these your subordinates, increasing his personal and interpersonal effectiveness through effective feedback. You have to give some feedback, how to, because this is the you have done this is very good, but even though this is the area has to be still more required, you can do it. That potentiality you have. So this is the way some sort of good words that you have to use it. Build up this motivation, build up this strength. So all are the is a part of your objectives of the coaching. Now, uh, objectives of the another part is that there's encouraging him to set goals for the further improvement, encouraging him to generate the alternatives for the dealing with his problems and the prepare the action plan himself. Because you have to, as a coacher, as a coach, you have to say this is the things you can do it, and you make your action plans. So helping him to review in a non-threatening way and the progress of the achieving various objectives, providing an enthusiastic atmosphere for the sharing and the discussing is to basically that is reducing the his tensions, conflict situation, how to tackle these conflict situations, the concern, and if any problem is there, how to solve it. All these things part you have to provide. Objectives of the mentoring. Now coming to the mentoring part. The main purpose of the mentoring is to provide the opportunity to the young people to share their concerns and get both moral support and guidance of their development. It involves the following. What are the involved in the following? That is establishing a relationship of trust, then modeling the behavioral norms, listening to the person's concerns, and what are these problems, they have to calculate to listen it, helping to search the alternative solutions for the problems, sharing our relevant experiences. So only to experience if you have come across some of the situations, you experience enough, so you have to pass on to the your subordinate also. You have to as a story or as a your experience you can how what the way you have tackled these situations that time, that also you have to explain the things, you have to share your experiences. That is the one of the objectives, one of the objectives of the mentoring. Responding to his emotional needs. Suppose if something is really required, is emotionally not strong, so you have as a guidance, as a father, as a mother, or as a mentor, you have to respond the things to make him depend on the as a mentor. Developing a long-lasting and personal and informational that relationship is a very important. That has to be it should be developed, not stop the or should not be any break in the relationship process, because then otherwise it will be affecting the productivity. The basic process of the coaching, and now we have to now talk about some of the process. So both coaching and the mentoring involves help and support by a senior person. Now it is almost clear. We can see and we can derive from here. The coaching and mentoring is not much very different. It is almost the same thing. It is involves both the way we are supporting the things and help and support by the senior persons in terms of their competency, experience, expertise, and the positions to a younger one. There are three process areas involved. That is your both coaching and mentoring, both of it. There is communications, empowering, and helping. There are three things are for the mentoring purposes. Finally, helping primarily involves in identifications of the employees' deployment needs so that it may be able to develop and increase his effectiveness. Now, both coaching and mentoring involve the help and support by the senior persons. And the three aspects are there, as I told you. Now, communication. It is interpersonal communications. The communication receives message from the listening, and same we can get the responder. One of the receiver is receiving end, one is the transmitting end. So responding on the asking the questions, so the other persons. So effective listening, uh, empathetic, empathic response, and supportive questionings are important both in mentoring and in the performance coaching. So most examples given here are for the performance counseling. So listening is the first effective step in the communications. Listening involves paying attention to the various messages being sent by the other persons. So listening is very important. Listening to feelings and concerns is very important for the effective coaching and the. So what are asking the question and the responding, that is part. There's unhelpful questions. Suppose questions should not be any create any problems. So critical questions are important, which are really help for the development purposes. Questions that criticize or reprimand or the doubt that it is countless create a gap between him and coach, because if the communication is very criticality is there, the questions are not good, so definitely not get the correct answer also sometimes, so it will create some irritations and it will harm for the both. Testing questions, so questions that are asked to find out whether the person is right or wrong. That is that type of question is there. So that is some sort of testing questions. You have to judge accordingly. Uh, Resenting questions. The persons may ask questions to indicate his resentment for the behavior of the other persons. So that type of question. Based on these questions, you can. There's the art of coaching or mentoring. You say that's why as a coach, as a mentor, you have to have a good communicator. So communication is a skill you should have learned, and questioning is also the various way you have to question. What is the purpose behind for the questioning? That is the important. Leading questions. The quite often the unknowingly we can ask the questions. So here it will help some helpful questions, trusting questions. So that is we have to based on these questions we can give the answer. Clarifying the question. The questions may be asked to collect the information because you are require some of the information. You have to collecting the more data. So you have to clarifying the question also like this. Empathetic questions. Suppose you are empathizing some of the things. When the question asks about the feelings of the persons, so his concerns. You are showing his concerns. Oh, okay, yes, what to do, how to do, okay, don't worry. So this type of empathic questions are to be there so that you can have a give us some idea or can solve these problems and finding the solutions. Now, open questions. Open questions are so that thinking and ideas can be accumulated, can be generated more. Response should be responsive because immediately they can react and employees can say something. Yes. So questions, open questions are going to be what the way that questioning is very important. Responding to questions, how to respond. The counselors sometimes use responses, some of the which are useful for some of the others, the functionals. So influencing our questions are yes, like this. So increasing the autonomy and positive reinforcement and identifications for the identification purposes. So these all are the basic process for the coaching process. Actually, I'm now telling you the both way, coaching and the mentoring, both the things. This is the process, the way you can develop a particular individuals. Now, empowering. That is one of the big issues now. There's empowering the performance coaching and the mentoring. One object is to increase the employee's potential to to make impact through effectiveness. Helping coaching is essential to involve concern and the empathy, mutuality, or relationship, identifying the individuals' development needs like this. So, coaching and the rapport building is also important part. How to attending the listening and acceptance, exploration from the employee side. You have to see and mentoring. It is comes from the basically it is a Greek word, the mentoring part, and then some of these what are the challenges are there to correct the problems. You have to identify things. So one is the natural mentoring systems. You have to do it another way. So okay, I think no, thank you very much. I think you are essentially listening all these things. So I think I covered up all this portion of the block 3, unit number 7 and 8. So okay, thank you very much.